Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I am Ameera, in case you haven't heard of me, and I am reclaiming my time. I want to say welcome, you guys. Welcome to our regular Sunday meetings, our meetings before the week starts, because who doesn't want to start off the week with something good, you know? Mwah. So anyway, I want to say hi to Eugene. Hi, Eugene. Hi, Alexandra. Hi, Michael Quaid. Hi, I'm just Brittany. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Hentai. Hi, Aaron again. Here's Serchi. Hi, Serchi. Hi, Rebecca. And hi, Cedric. So if you guys saw the title, I know this is kind of a topic that is a little bit hard to speak about. And I didn't bring any notes because I just really wanted to just talk about it, you know, kind of like us speaking to each other personally, like we're just talking in the living room, drinking tea, we're just having a chat. So I didn't want to make this so formal. So hi, Christopher. Hi, Marlon. Hi, Mills. Hi, SDC. Hi, Ramako Larry and Larry Young. Hi, Larry. And Black Superman. Hi, Black Superman. And Kellum and Red Pill Dawn. Right. So the topic is this. Do they want power and equality, or do they want revenge? Now, you might say, like, okay, some people say Western women want it all. They want all of that and more. But I have a suspicion that it's more of a revenge thing that a lot of people want here, especially women. They really want revenge. So this is the thing. When we see so many women in today's world always talking how they should have the same. But if you notice, most of them don't get the same, or they don't want the same, but rather they want special treatment, more rights, and more power over the men. They want superiority, not equality. You know what I mean? And the argument is that, well, they've had all their lives, or, men. Men have had it all through the history and all through time. They've had everything, and we have sat here and just taken it, and we've suffered in silence. And now it's our turn to make them suffer in silence. But we're not going to say that. What we're going to say is that we want to be equal. We want fair treatment, which really means special treatment. We want equality, and we want to be seen as equals, which really means I want to be superior, more superior than you, because this is where I'm going with this. I see a problem, and this is a little bit political, but I think most of you guys kind of understand my political views. I'm the anti-feminist. I hate feminism. I hate that it ever started, honestly. And I know people will say, well, there were so many waves, and the first wave was good. Kind of. So, right. So where I'm going with this is that in schools, I've seen recently, in schools, they're teaching the children that girls are equal to boys, and that boys are bad. Essentially, every behavior that a boy has, if a boy is this the word, guys? Help me out. Is it rambunctious? If a boy is energetic and he cannot sit still and what have you, this is all natural for boys. But they try to make the boys act like girls. And to the girls, they're like, oh, you're perfect. You're perfect as you are, darling. Even if the girl is gaining weight, the girl is fat, the girl is uncooperative, the girl is, now I'm talking about school. This has nothing to do with women yet. The girl is uncooperative, she's overweight, she's a brat, she doesn't play well with others. All of those things is just like, well, it's okay because we don't want to say anything that makes them feel bad. But for the boys, I've noticed that boys, they get punished a lot more than girls. They get sent to detention and all of this. They get sent to medical clinics to put them on medications, Ritalin and Adderall. I believe it's like Adderall and Ritalin. They force these kids to take these drugs, and it's mostly to boys. Because how dare boys be boys? Now, this is an argument that we had on Lapeef Network, if you guys remember. The question that JR had presented to us was, are the schools responsible for feminism being taught to children? Part of this, when we speak about how the boys are treated and how the boys are not tolerated, their natural behavior, their natural desire to be hands-on and to go outside and learn rather than sit at a desk and write cursive, this natural behavior of boys is seen as just intolerable. It's seen as the worst. It's seen as toxic. I'll get there in a second with toxic masculinity. But so when JR asks us that question, this all ties back to the teachers. When I answered yes to that question, I said yes, that feminism is taught in schools. And the argument was, well, just because the teacher is a woman doesn't make her a feminist. No. But what we know, everybody knows this, is that most teachers lean left. They lean more to the liberal side. So on the liberal side, this is where all this feminism is being taught. So can you really tell me then that it's not the teachers doing it? We can't blame the teachers because, not all teachers are feminists? No. Because the majority of the curriculum taught to children today is leftist curriculum. There are rainbow flags in the classrooms. What does that have to do with children? I have no clue. What does that have to do with learning math, science, history? A rainbow flag? Well, it's social indoctrination and so on. And this all begins in school. So you think about children at that age. So now the boy has already been put on Ritalin, Adderall. He's already been sent to detention because he can't sit still. All of his teachers are women because the majority of teachers are women. And he's being indoctrinated with the leftist ideology, which is more tolerant of women, I guess. You can say that. It's more tolerant towards women. Now, the boy moves on to go to high school. In high school, things get even more real because then it turns into, well, class, today we are going to learn about toxic masculinity. And now we're going to teach the children that boys are toxic. Every behavior that masculinity is associated with is now bad. This is where I'm telling you guys that this is not a cry for equality. It's not a cry for power. This is about revenge. And you may say, like, okay, not everybody wants to be revengeful. Not everyone is, doing this agenda. But the person who started this, if you guys don't know the history, there is, I don't know if I can say this on this channel. Oh, God. Okay. I'll say it kind of like this. There was a man from a long time ago. His first name was Yuri, and his last name I can't pronounce. It starts with a B. So type into Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever you use, Bing, Yuri B, and it will finish itself, I'm pretty sure. This person was talking about how society can be taken over, how it can collapse, how the war is kind of warfare. It's a different type of warfare than guns and bombs and so on. This warfare has to do with creating division in the people, creating the division between everything. Everything can be divided. This is what Anton always speaks about. If you guys don't know, when Anton is always speaking about not dividing by color, but by character, the reason he says that is because once you start dividing people by color, gender, sexual orientation, everything that you want, nationality, everything. It won't stop. There's no stopping to it. Do you know what I mean? So that's when Anton actually said, so what's next? We're just gonna divide ourselves by color, and then we're gonna divide ourselves by sexual orientation, like if you are bestiality, if you practice bestiality or not. And everyone laughed at him. On the panel, everyone laughed at him. But I completely understood where Anton was going with that, because once you begin that process of dividing people this way, where do you stop? Where do people say, oh, okay, now we're done? Yeah, first we were just dividing on gender, and now we're done. Oh, you're Muslim? Oh, I'm Christian. Okay, well, now we're going to divide each other that way, and then we're done. Yeah. Oh, you're not straight? Okay, so I'm going to divide you there too. Okay, yeah, I mean, after that, though, we're completely done. I promise. Oh, you're conservative and I'm a liberal? Okay, it just keeps going. It keeps going and it won't stop. And this is kind of what Yuri was speaking about, was the type of warfare we're facing right now in the United States is this type of warfare, the divisionist warfare. This is the way that wars are fought today. Wars aren't fought on the battlefield like before, because of course we've moved on past that, hopefully. Now we're civilized. Now we just try to ruin your lives. I'm just kidding. So yeah, this is what I wanted to speak to you all about, because this has been on my mind for a very long time, and it makes me wonder, is this a part of Yuri's plan? Yuri, guys, you have got to look it up. There's a whole video of him speaking about how America will fall in the future, and how it will be done, and it won't be done from the traditional ways. It starts in schools. It starts with the children. It starts with the media. The media forcing people mentally. Can I say something to you guys? Watch. I want to give you an example. Okay, here's the example. We have all heard about the spies. If you know the spies, the ones that are raised up from childhood to be spies, the children are taught in such a way that they can act a certain way and change their personality from one word. One word can trigger a brain switch within them because they have been programmed to be this way. Let's say the word is delfin. Delfin means dolphin in Russian and Spanish and Romanian. Delfin. The word is delfin. So let's say the child is somewhere and they're being programmed to hear that one word and completely have a personality change, behavioral change, everything. The child hears delfin, 1 minute they're playing, next minute they stop and they're frozen. And you're like, what happened to the kid? Because they heard the code word that changed their personality. And this is a brain, it takes a very long time to do this to someone, but it can happen. So if you look at our media today, even our media, when I'm talking about revenge, I'm talking about getting back at something. Something went awry and people are trying to get back at another person. So in the media, we have, let's say the CNN hosts, Fox News hosts, all of them are trash. Don't for a second think that Fox is better than CNN or CNN is better than MSNBC. They are all trash. They're all trash. Don't ever believe that any of them are really caring about your intelligence, because they don't care. You must be smarter than them and find your own information on your own, because yeah. Anyway, back to we are programmed today in America to hear certain words and feel a certain way. Do you not think so? Let's throw out, let me see. Okay, we can stay on this topic of toxic masculinity. We can hear a word in the media like assault, Me Too, DV, anything. And the first thing that pops into your head is what? Men, toxicity, hatred. I have to hate this person because this and this. We don't even care to hear the full story, because once that word has been said, we already have made up our minds who is the aggressor and who is the victim. Kevin Samuel spoke on that recently. He spoke on women always being believed. And this is a part of the revenge. This is what I'm saying. All of this programming comes back to the same. It comes back to this damnation of men. This I'm looking for the word. I cannot find the word, but this warfare on men. And you want to tell me that this is equality that we're trying to get here? It's not equality, and I don't care who says it. This is not equality. And in fact, equality can never happen. It can never happen. We can never be equal. I will never be equal to a man, and he will never be equal to me. Does it mean that one or the other is better? Yes, it kind of does. Because looking at the productivity, looking at, just think about all of the inventors of the world. You think about the people who were innovative, the people who were, what is it called when you, what is the word? Why am I like not finding words today? Trailblazers. Think about the people who are trailblazers. Think about the people who actually took a risk to try something. All of those people who invented the nuclear power. How many people had to die of radiation before they could perfect nuclear power? How many people had to die? You don't see women doing those things. You don't see it. Now, I'm not saying that women are worthless per se. I'm saying that women were not needed as much as men. That's all I'm saying. And to think that we can somehow get revenge on the men for just being men throughout history, and to think that we have some kind of a power over them, and we can just, it's just absurd. It's absurd, and we will never win. So if the idea is to have a war against men, be prepared to lose, and to lose brutally, because we won't win unless the men allow it to happen. And that's what I see happening now. If men were to actually be who they're meant to be and stand up the way they should, or the way that they know how, but they have been so neutered. The men have been neutered. And it's like, if the men were half of what they should be, women, you would not even think you had a chance. But the problem is, men are allowing it to happen in the name of equality, happiness for women, and everything that they've been taught since we spoke about that first day in the classroom, when they were taught that girls are good and boys are bad because boys don't know how to behave and you don't know how to sit down. That's you neutering the children. Every time you tell the boy, you can't, no, you have to sit here and you have to listen, and if you don't, you're going to get put on Ritalin. You're neutering. I don't know if anyone disagrees, but this is how I see it. And yeah, so I think it's a revenge factor. I think that this is what's happening, and I want to hear from you all. I want to hear what you think as well. Please call in if you disagree. Tell me your disagreement. Do you really believe that this is actually a cry for equality? Do you believe that women are not out for revenge, but they just want to be seen as equals, and they want to feel just as valuable as men? I'm waiting. I'm here, and I want to hear from every opinion. So feel free to call in if you want to speak about it. Michael Quaid says, I mean, CNN does their best to keep us on a plantation, and sadly, most of us are too dumb to see it. The idea is that when you deviate from the thinking that CNN promotes, they insult you. Don Lemonhead, he has been, if you guys haven't seen him recently, ever since Trump was in office, he has been going on saying how conservatives and people who don't trust the government are idiots. They shouldn't be given medical care, medical treatment if they get ill because they won't get vaccinated. So if you don't get vaccinated, well, you deserve nothing. That you shouldn't take up space in the hospitals because you didn't get that jab. You didn't trust the government enough to put something in your body that we don't. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna. I can't go down there. I'm sorry. I went too far. But he has been calling people names online. He has been not online on the network. He's been calling people names and talking about how stupid people are for distrusting the government. I'll just leave it there because I don't want to have JR call a meeting because of me. So we'll just leave it there. Let me see if we can get the link posted so that someone can call in. 1 minute, guys. I am reading your comments too, though. Okay. Don Lemonhead. I know. I shouldn't make fun of names because, of course, he didn't choose this name. But come on, that name is just—it's too easy. It's just too easy. Don Lemonade. Someone said Don Lemonade. Well, when life gives you lemons, right? Oh God. Coras Novel says, "What is the question? The question is, do you think that? Okay, well, the thing is talking about." Equality and power. So the idea is that women want equality and power, but I believe they want revenge, not equality and power. So if you disagree with that, feel free to call in. Alexandra says, lead us back to traditionalism. Men that stand firm in their standards have the power to change women. Women inherently want to please the men they love or they like. Yes, but I have seen that there's a great number of women today speaking about their fears of marriage. They're scared to get married because they say, they don't want to lose their happiness. They feel that women who are married are unhappy and that they're forced to be in a situation, and they don't want that. They don't want the routine. They want to constantly have surprises and constantly have exactly what they want. And that is selfish because you think about family, and you don't really care about that because family isn't temporary. It's not something that's supposed to make you happy. It's something that we work on because it's what we're here to do. Hi, Eugene.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
It seems okay. I don't know if you read that last super chat, but I've always believed in women's rights because women's rights are, supposed to be built for treating your women fairly and um, um, giving women equal opportunity. But I think there's some women who sort of took women's rights and sort of abused it, to and use that feminist card, to have this mentality that they're rising up, above the men, they're the boss chicks and things of that nature. They've some of these women seem to blow women's right so far out of proportion. Now, my position is, if I have a woman, right, who's making, more than I am, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. But the thing is, if I go with a woman, I don't want that woman, acting like, you know, she could lead me or anything like that. I'm the man. I'm supposed to be that leader. And also, but when I'm also leading her, I want to make it clear to her that, I mean, even though I'm the leader, I don't want you like bowing down to me or anything. I just want you to support me the way I support you. But yeah, some of the women, especially feminists and gynocrats, they're all out for revenge. They all have this superiority complex, which is, to me, ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about, like I was saying, that the intention is to get the children young, especially the boy children? We're essentially neutering our boy children to become the men that we see today that are tolerant of these women. Because let me tell you, if the men weren't this tolerant, we would not have this problem, because we just wouldn't. Men are too tolerant. Men allow their daughters to run wild. They allow them to have boyfriends at a young age, which creates this cycle of just, men are supposed to be there to lay down the law, to create shame in the house. You should be shamed to bring anything home to your father, or to have your father see you acting in a manner that is improper. You should be shamed. Men bring shame to the family. Women do not. Women bring acceptance and love, and it's okay, baby. You can always come to me. And we have too much of it. And now I see men turning into be the same thing. Men are not, they're not shaming the family anymore. No one's scared that their father's going to find out anymore. What do you think?
Well, even though I have that witness firsthand, I can believe it. I can really believe that your men are allowing this, stuff to happen. Men like that are called simps, and we just have too many simps here. We have, I mean, I think of all the well, first I think of all the fathers who, first of all, who are not there at all, and then like you mentioned, we do have fathers that uh that that are so simpish that they let their you know daughters or even sons do whatever they want. So it, it's pretty disturbing.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your views. I appreciate that so much. And yeah, thank you for being out here and recognizing the bull. I can't curse, but the bull. Thank you for recognizing it and not being afraid to point it out. I appreciate you, Eugene.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's another thing, guys. He brought up a good point about fathers being, I don't like this word, but this is the word that we have today, and it's simp. But I believe that if the father lets his daughter go out and do whatever she wants, then he is the first simp for her. Does that make sense? If your father simp for the father is simping for the daughter is like, it's just, oh my god, it just creates a whole pattern. If your father is your first simp, that just sucks. You should never even simp for your daughter. That's what I'm saying. Don't simp for your daughter. Like, stand firm even with her. Don't let her get away with things. Even I know, like, she's cute and you want to be like the men. Walt says there is a theory that moderate Muslims benefit from their radical radical extremist brethren, so moderates don't condemn. Isn't feminism the same? The agenda is still pro-woman and pro-sisterhood. I see. I see what you mean. So it's like when you have a group of people, you have the warriors, and you have the people that are in the villages. In this case, we would say like the radical Muslims are kind of like the warriors of Islam, which keeps the village Muslims safe. Is that kind of what you're saying? So in the feminism kind of thing, in the feminism, we have the warrior feminists that are out there screaming and going crazy to keep the other feminists that want to sit and talk nicely safe, and where they don't have to go that extra mile. I think that's what you're trying to say. That makes sense. I can't see your name, but hello.
Hey, Ameera, it's Cora.
Hi, Cora.
Hi. First of all, I just want to thank and give honor to Lapeef for hosting this network, and you, Ameera, for standing strong on your beliefs and teaching us and bringing these issues to the forefront, because they're not talked about enough, the emasculation of our boys. and then ultimately the men in society.
Yes.
So I thank you for doing that. And for the question, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that what was the first part? I'm sorry.
Do they want equality in power or revenge?
Yes, I think they want both. Equality, which was the idea given to women that they can achieve equality by the powers that be, which women will never, ever, like you said, obtain equality to men because we're just different. We're not the same.
Precisely.
And so I feel like women are reaching for that, most women, but it's something that will never be achieved. And so this idea is something that women are chasing, and they're forgetting about their femininity. They're forgetting about raising the children, staying home, and things like that. So that's like in the back of their mind, while they want a man to provide and do all these things, but they're not the traditional woman. And then I think it's a form of revenge as well, because it's like, okay, as they're trying to obtain this, trying to be the same as men, it's like when they're fighting that battle, they get frustrated and they're like, well, we're going to get this revenge back by, emasculating the boys and treating them like women and dressing them like little girls and allowing them to do all this. I don't want to say the words because I know some words are sensitive and things like that, but dressing them as girls, basically.
Yes.
And just things like that. And if a man talks firm to you, oh, it's abuse and things like that. So yeah, I agree with you on that. What do you think about what I just said?
Your words are so strong. Like, it's rare that when a person speaks that I have like my heartbeat change or something. When you're just speaking right now, I had to breathe a little bit because I was like, you mentioned putting the boys in dresses, and this is another form of revenge. It's like, I'm not going to have my son grow up and be a masculine, aggressive man because I think it's toxic. And the revenge, someone asked in the comments, they said, what are these women trying to get revenge from, or from what? And it's like, if you haven't seen what the feminists have been talking about, they are so focused on the 40s, the 50s, up until maybe the 70s, 80s. And they always speak about how women weren't allowed to say anything. Women had to hold their tongue. The men could hit the woman and the woman couldn't do a thing. The police were always on the men's side. Like a long time ago, police, even if they came to your house for domestic violence, sometimes the man could just pay off the police and the police would say, okay, have a nice day. So I think this is what they're trying to do now. And they're trying to make the men of today pay for the sins of the men in the past. So think about everything I just said. They think that the men were allowed to hit the women and the women weren't allowed to say anything. What do we have today? We have women hitting men, assaulting men, and the men aren't allowed to say anything. They're not allowed to do anything about it. That's revenge. What about in the workplace? What about they feel like men always dominated the workplace and they always got pay raises and got jobs? Now, what do we have? We have the same thing happening with women, and now it's even quota. So when you talk about revenge, this is what the revenge I believe that they're speaking about. Hi, Sila.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And I'm just excited that you're on this platform, and I'm here to listen and to learn.
Thank you, Cora. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Sila says, feminists have forgotten that we have power over men as a result of the fact that we're women. Men adore us. Almost all of their efforts at home or at work or in social settings are made to win our approval. Well, you see, that's only if the woman is feminine and she brings value to the men, because a man doesn't feel like he's getting any value by being with another man, because he can have that at work, he can have that everywhere else. He doesn't want to come home and have another man sitting in the living room drinking a beer, rubbing his chest hair, he doesn't want to come home to that. He wants to have a woman that brings femininity and beauty to his life. And the women that do that get all the things that Sila is talking about all of this. They work hard, and everything that they do is to get the approval of that woman. Someone said that we wouldn't have heaters or air conditioners if the world was only men. We wouldn't have heaters or air conditioners. They said the only reason we have those things is to keep the women comfortable enough so that they will mate with the men. And for some reason, I kind of believe it. Hi, Bihan, hi.
Hi, good evening, Ameera. So there's a lot to say. So I honestly believe it is more about power and control. So where this all springs from is from the sexual revolution from a long time, because what that did was whenever it quote unquote freed women, what it did was we started bringing the family court laws and the child support laws, and that kind of made the government the father of the children, or it separated the households. That's where this all stems from, where a woman didn't need a man as a provider in the house anymore. So fast forward to today, we live in a gynocentric social order. So I know that there's been people on the show before that have tried to deny that we do, but what they're doing is taking a very small group of men that are super successful, hyper successful, and trying to say that that constitutes a patriarchy, which is completely false. Because if you actually look at the majority of our academia, 70% of colleges is women. And not only that, women actually take over the humanities, they take over psychology and all these things where they're technically controlling like the thoughts and the behavior processes of the system. Because think about all these studies that are generated and things like that. It's coming from those. So that's why, you know, when I came on the stream last time, I was talking about like where the traditional masculinity is actually now deemed a like a how would you say a psychological trait that's bad, you know. So it's a character flaw now. And the thing is technically women are now writing the rules of society. Think about what we live in today. If you hold a woman accountable for bad behavior, it's controversial. If you tell a woman she's overweight, or you know, try to give her the reality of the way, you know, things really are, it's controversial and they want to silence you. And the thing is, as far as the men, see, our nature has been manipulated against us, because a lot of men are afraid. They know that, hey, if a woman finds us creepy or toxic, that it reduces our ability to mate and to find somebody. So that's why women are so quick to, you know, oh, he's toxic, you know, he's creepy, he's this, like that. So we're being manipulated. And honestly, this isn't good, you know, the way society is going, because you can do a lot of research on ancient societies. And women's sexuality and women were always meant to be controlled because of their nature, their ovulatory shifts, the fact that they're more in tune with their emotions rather, you know, than to a man or anything else. You know, it's always about what they feel.
Correct.
And I mean, like I said, we live in a society to where it's all about feelings, things like that. And also you mentioned too about men, where our testosterone is dropping. So that's to many things. I think that's also has to do a factor with it of why these weak men are allowing this to, you know, happen, of all this, you know, things happening in society.
But I wonder if that's causation. Do you know what I mean? Like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did the low testosterone come first, and that's why men started behaving this way, or did men start behaving this way, which dropped their testosterone levels?
Well, I think it's men started behaving this way, not from the drop of testosterone levels. Like I said, you have to look at the sexual revolution, how men were started to be depicted after that. But the more the more technological advances that we have, it's actually lowered men's testosterone. Like, for instance, like certain plastics and polymers that were exposed to
chicken.
Even the 5G, waves and things like that. Also, there's a really book called, I think it's called De-estrogenization or estrogenization, to where they found that due to the fact of the birth control pill, it's actually caused a lower testosterone levels in men. Because what it is our water is like processed and filtered, right? You know, our wastewater. Yeah. So whenever women urinate, they still have some of the hormones, and they can't filter out the hormones out of the water from the birth control pill. And it stays in the water. So we drink and we shower in that water. And what they've noticed is that men of today have 60% lower testosterone than of like men in the 60s. So that's another big factor too. So, I mean, I just see that this really isn't going good. And this is what I want to tell you and the sister last time, you know, when I came on the show.
With Crimson?
I'm sorry?
Did you come on when I was talking with Crimson?
Yes, but I had a different name. I kind of want to conceal my identity because my company won't, you know, be happy with my views. But what was I saying? So Rollo Tomasi talks about it in one of his books called Religion, how these leftists and the feminist ideology is infiltrating religion. So if you see in Christian churches, you know, you see, I hate to say it, but you see, you know, preachers marrying former, you know, adult actresses, things like that. And what I think I've seen in the Christian church is we're being manipulated of acceptance to where it's like, oh, well, only God can judge me. Only God can judge me. Only God can judge me. You know, you have a women that's had like 5 or 6 kids from 3 or 4 different fathers, you know, oh, well, only God can judge me. And you see like the preacher manipulated, you know, and kind of turned into a beta male and things like that. And so what I wanted to say to you and the sister is that in Islam, I think it's the final forefront of the way things are supposed to be.
I believe that.
You know, I really believe that. And, you know, just what I would say is try to, you know, empower your men to be stronger. You know, because like I said, I think Christianity is failing. It really is. It's, you know, you see it and it's unfortunate. And I don't know if I can't remember if this was directly out of the Quran, but it said like in the final days,
the men will look like women. You will not know the difference. Yeah,
men will look like women. You will not know the difference. There will be an overabundance of food. Also, people
will be fat.
Yeah, people will be fat. Yeah. So, I mean, we see this happening in society today because what do you see now happening is families are broken apart. People are divided. And so also with the gynocentrism too, kind of
behind. I have another person calling. I just wanted to make it. Can you make it kind of short?
Yeah. So just also the female sexual strategy is being played out. It's breaking families. So last time when I came on, I talked about you know, women focusing more on their you know, on the sexual side of their hypergamy and things like that, and not on the providing and resources.
Yeah.
So there was a lady that admitted who wrote like stuff in Cosmopolitan, you know, that she kind of led women in the wrong direction. So there's a recent movie that came out, and you see this with the whole polyamorous movement coming out, Sex Life, to where I think it's going to try to encourage women to, have your provider male at home, but go have sex with other males.
Oh my God.
Because that's what's happening in society, you know, and like that's why families are being broken, because women now are encouraged to fulfill their sexual fantasies over having a family. And it's okay to have your provider male at home, but you can go have sex with the other males and not suffer any repercussions. And if he allows you to hang out or be with other males, you know, he's not comfortable in his masculinity. So that's where we're headed. And the man you were talking about was Yuri Bezmenov. That's the guy that you were talking about, the KGB defector.
Don't say names. Oh my God.
Oh, I'm sorry, but hey, I just want to drop knowledge for people. I really do. I want people to wake up. So
yeah, I appreciate you having me on the show. I was trying not to say the name, but okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Maybe I missed that part. But anyways, I understand if you have another call, but thank you for letting me speak.
You have been amazing, an amazing call. Thank you so much. And please never feel shy to call back again, because we need these kind of truth bombs dropped. We do need these, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for calling in. Wow, that was quite a call. And before we begin detox, I just want to say this really quickly, and you can probably add on to this. What he mentioned was in the Quran, and it says that you know, in the final days, men will look like women, women will look like men. You will not know the difference because they will start dressing, acting, and looking the same. The people will be fat and greedy, and so on and so forth. There will be abundance of food and money and so on. So yes, and that's the end. Hi, Dem Detox.
What's up, cuz?
Hi, cousin. Oh yeah, I forgot. You're gonna tell everybody that we're cousins? Okay. I guess we'll just let the secret out. Let the secret out. We're cousins.
We might as well be. Shit. The topic for tonight is: do women want was it equality or revenge?
Yeah. Essentially.
Is that correct? Mm-hmm. I think it's a little of both. You can't really say it's one over the other. I think when as he was saying about the KGB defector, that's a true story. That's based in reality. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think that's A lot of people think that's like a conspiracy theory, but it's a true story, 100% factual story.
I know.
And to add on to that, the destruction of the family unit, it came in many different forms, but women are not naturally attracted to feminine men, and right now that's all they can find. And men are not attracted to masculine women, and that's pretty much all we find around. So the women acting like women. When the women got a little taste of that control and power, of course, they're not going to let that go, even if they might be a little bit more feminine. You know, if they experience that you can control a man and manipulate him and get him to buy you stuff and pay your bills, and why would you let go of that? You know, even if you're more miserable in the long run, you're not going to give up that power if you can get shit from it. You know.
True. And that's what I'm saying. That's what we're seeing, Dem. And it all starts, like I said, my point was that it starts when they're small, that they're just taking the children, the boys. And another thing about this low testosterone, low sperm counts in men, women not wanting to have babies, not wanting to be pregnant, regretting all of this is okay. Hear me out, Dem. Hear me out.
Go ahead.
My theory is that it's about population control in a way. So population control is like one of those things that they add into, like when the Senate makes a bill, they add in things on the side, in the middle part, like they'll make a bill of like 1,500 pages, and right in like the 746 page, they'll make some crap added into it. I think that the population control issue is one of the things that's added on to what's happening in this country, and it's kind of tacked on with the rainbow flag, the masculine women, feminine men, because they know we're not going to be attracted to one another. The degender. Wait. I'm sorry. I got scared. There was thunder. The degendering of people to making us these genderless gray beings. Have you seen that there's been that push to make everyone genderless and to get away from the the binary, get away from the binary of male and female to make it into a spectrum of, well, you kind of male this and you're kind of 60% male and 40% female. No, that's not how it is. Go on.
Yeah, men and women have always naturally had we have more commonalities than we do differences, but the differences are crucial. They're critical. So when you start taking away the things that are uniquely masculine and giving those things to feminine women, the men will still sleep with the women, but they won't be able to maintain relationships with them. And then as a result, the women have become more and more frustrated, more and more angry. They focus on their careers, which isn't a bad thing for, to focus on your career. But the meaning of life is relationships. We're supposed to be around other people that we like, cherish, and admire and learn from. If we can't establish and maintain relationships, how the hell are we supposed to grow or be happy? What you end up seeing is these miserable societies with these vindictive and angry women, and then these pissed off, what do they call the simp? Not simps, but the dude that called himself like the immaculate gentleman, and then he went and shot up that school or that gym. And what you're gonna see is a lot of more
incel
women.
Incel.
Yeah, incels. You see a incel community growing, and women that have these great careers, and when they go home, they're fucking miserable. Oh, my bad, I didn't mean to cuss, but when they get home, they're miserable. And that's that.
Demonetize them, detox. Demonetize.
My bad. Forgive me, but yeah, I just wanted to say it. You're gonna see, as far as what their main goal is, a lot of it is revenge. The movement was completely co-opted, and they did it in phases. This is the last thing I'll say, and I'm gonna let the next caller jump on. But the movement started out right, equal rights. It's about equality, right? Then you had second wave feminism. They started talking about other issues, but then when it got to like third wave and fourth wave, the movement was co-opted directly by the communists, 100% by the communists, and the destruction of the family unit is the goal. If you look at the statements, made directly by Patrisse Cullors and a lot of these movements that are supposedly about civil rights, what they do is they get people to join the movement without actually revealing the core the actual cause of the movement. So it looks like it's a thing. Who's going to disagree that Black Lives Matter?
But some people do it blatantly, Dim Detox. Did you know that in the the story, not cover story, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like the motivation for Black Lives Matter.
The mask is
yes, they had it in their description, and people looked right past it. They said that they were trained Marxists, and that their agenda was to destroy the nuclear family as we know it. And people just looked right past it and said, well, that's not true. And it's right there. They completely told it to you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everybody listening to this live, you black, white, Spanish, whatever color you are, whatever political leaning you are, all right? I'm somewhere in the middle. I agree with a lot of conservative things. I see a lot of liberal, I agree with a lot of liberal values. Whatever your political leaning, everybody on this channel watching this live tonight needs to Google Manning Johnson, Color, Communism, and Common Sense. He breaks down the entire operation from beginning to end. So everything that you're seeing now in the media will make sense to you. It's an 80-page book. It's an easy read. Once y'all read that book, you will understand exactly what is happening, because he blew the lid off it. He was a black dude from DC. I think he was a U.S. representative for New York or one of these states up there. But he talks about how the KGB recruited him into the movement to go back to the States to get other black and browns to join the cause of communism. And they always pretend it's under the guise of helping black folks, when entirely they don't give a shit about us. Okay, they do not care about black and brown people. They're only using us to further their movement, and that's exactly what you see happening now. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Communism and what?
Color, Communism, and dude's name is Manning Johnson. The book is called Color, Communism, and Common Sense. You could find it on his website as a free PDF. It's a short read. Really
okay.
Easy.
I will check out that book, because I'm always interested in where this country is going and the agenda, and no one is going to tell you dumb. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
All right, cuz. Have a good night.
Night. It's true. No one is going to tell you. How do you think that they're going to tell you what? What is this? Who I think it is? Maybe. Is this Wolf?
Yeah, I'm just Westonite.
I can't hear you. You got to put your microphone. Make it higher. Hi, Wolf.
Crap. Let me figure this out. I don't know.
Somebody said Bolo. Oh, I thought you guys were saying this was Bolo. Hi, Bolo. Oh, I also wanted to say hi to, I saw a few people say hi. The reason I was laughing was because someone put in the comments, when I was speaking about the spectrum, the gender spectrum, they said Spectrum has the best internet. Some people don't get it. Hi, Wolf.
Can you hear me?
Barely, but I can hear you.
Okay, I'll just talk louder and hope I don't wake up my kids.
Okay. What do you think about the topic?
Interesting topic. You really know how to open a can of worms.
My God, aren't I known for that?
Yeah, that's a good thing. So, a lot of thoughts there. I think modern feminism is self-hatred, and hatred has an inherent desire to spread itself. So, and I like to give this scenario to anyone out there that has children. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You have this beautiful little child there, and they have these little hands they haven't quite figured out, and they'll reach up while they're sleeping. They'll grab their hair, and they'll start pulling their hair. So they start crying because someone's pulling their hair, and because they're aggravated, they'll pull harder, not knowing what's actually going on. And it's a negative feedback loop.
Mm-hmm.
Where these women are looking at men and saying, well, I'm supposed to be just like him or better than him or have more than him. And then they go home and they're like, I'm still not happy, so it's the man's fault. And they just stay in this cycle of self-hatred. And given my position, I've actually dated a lot of women, or a lot of women have tried to date me as they're trying to come out of that cycle in their late 30s or early 40s, realizing, I actually did want to have children, but I had a career instead, realizing that the career doesn't, hug them when they come home at night.
Well, they expect that a man will want, she is more desirable to the men because she has the career. In her mind, in a lot of the modern women's mind, have a career, so I should be desirable to men.
Yes, and that's what they're taught by former feminists, and that's why I say it's a cycle of self-hatred that has an inherent desire to spread. So women that have come before them has said that, well, because you're a woman, you have to go do these things. And I've seen commercials on TV saying that we need more women scientists. Well, do the women want to be scientists?
Have you seen the commercials recently? It's absurd. Have you seen it for the CIA, for the Navy or Army? I think it was Army. Everything is, every time there's a commercial, or even for cereal boxes, every time there's a commercial, it's always a political site. It's always someone that is either, it always has to either be a woman, or it has to be a rainbow flag, or it has to be, because this is like what they're trying to put into your face all the time. This is good, and this is bad. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, I see that all over the place. So I don't watch a lot of TV, but I have seen stuff like that. Like, you know how they got TVs on gas pumps now, and I was sitting there getting just the other day, I was filling up early in the morning, and I heard this. I'm not going to tell you what the ad was, but I heard this ad. I'm thinking, what dystopian future are we living in? Because I remember watching movies from the late 80s or early 90s that were based in this year or beyond, and they have all these weird woke ads that are just inherently destructive. And I know what you're talking about with the Army one, the YouTube, the new generation one, where they're showing all these woke kids, especially the one called Emma. And I go and check that every once in a while so I can laugh at it, to see how many people have hated on that, because this is not where society is supposed to go.
I know.
The United States military is not there. The United States military is a federal force. Is designed to win wars against foreign adversaries. It has nothing to do with social justice.
Correct. And that's the problem. We're going to have a bunch of soldiers out on the battlefield that are confused about if they want to wear a dress or pants. And they're supposed to be fighting against Russians that have been raised up all their life to dominate, who have been eating iron nails since they were 5. And they're supposed to go against these guys and win. How do you expect to have us win as Americans with an army that's full of social justice warriors and everyone who's been added on because, well, we just want people to feel good and not feel like they're excluded?
Well, this is the problem with everybody gets a trophy. All right. There's winners, there's losers, there's people that just don't quite make it. That's okay. It is human nature to want to compete. It's more masculine nature to want to compete. Now, accepting that you can't compete on certain levels, or you can't compete on the level of LeBron James, that's okay. It's okay to accept that you can't do that. There's literally millions of things that you can do in life that you can excel in. And no one said that you have to stop playing basketball because you can't be the best. Right?
That's true.
It's okay. But when you look at what the military is doing right now, they are lowering standards. In order to get everybody on like the same scoring system, they have to lower standards. And all they do is they take the female minimum and add it to the male maximum. You actually are exacerbating a problem as opposed to dealing with a problem.
And I know TJ would know more about that. I don't know if she's here in the chat, but TJ, she's an ex-military and she knows all about that. Thank you so much, Wolf, for being here. I know you have a different name on here, but you're Wolf to me. So Wolf, thank you for being here.
Of course. Wonderful subject tonight.
You too. See you soon. So yeah, I don't know if TJ is here, but TJ knows all about that. And I know Bolo is here. I want to try to get the link in the chat for Bolo. Hopefully he can get it. Hi, Ego.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. What do you think about the topic today?
So I was thinking, you was just talking about you don't know, like, you really think that it has to do with population control.
Yes.
And I really feel like that's one of the strong reasons. They either want to slow the birth rate down, so maybe it's a more controllable environment. And another thing I thought about, it's got to be like, as far as the economy, we all know, women are spenders, and we all know that, we're a service economy, so we need people, of course, maybe perhaps broken homes do more frivolous spending. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I would think that something like that would drive us to, because this is something that's being done politically as well. Like, they could change the law and drive marriages to work if they really want to, but that's not what they want. So I feel as though them bumping up inflation and then women not exactly being in homes with men is definitely going to drive more consumer spending. Um, but I mean, how far do we go? Like,
I
I
mean, you bring up a great point about the population control and the laws that we have in the system right now. There, okay, there. It's really easy to change the marriage and birth rate in this country if you just adjust the laws. If you change the family court to what it should be, and you make it so that even stepfathers, men who are taking on, because whether we like it or not, this is going to have to be a reality for a lot of men, unfortunately, to actually set things straight. A lot of men are going to have to take that on, and I think a lot of men don't do it because it's a thankless job. You don't get anything, and you have no rights, but you have all of the responsibilities. If they change that to where stepdads can have equal rights, or at least have rights over the children, just as a normal father, if they're married to the mother, I believe we would see an increase in men being willing to do that. Not that much, of course, because a lot of men are just, they'd rather not. But
right.
there are decent women out there who are with children, and they need a family. Like, they need to have a family. Sometimes the father has passed on. These women need a man in the home too. So I don't know. But the family court is, I think, maybe the main reason why men are refusing to dedicate themselves and marry legally. What do you think?
I think I think it's a mix of it. So, and I think they've created a web of events around something that they purposely want to do. Because you have the family court where you're penalized a lot of times for having kids and trying to do it the right way. But then, you got the family courts, but you have to deal with the narrative and the mentality of the modern women who are out here. You know what I'm saying? When you could still do the family court law, but then you have to deal with the socialization of everything that they've read, and and it's crazy because just in the West, it's just automatically marriage is assumed to be for the woman. You know what I'm saying? And that very thought process in this day of time is like the nuclear bomb against anything that you would be considered traditional. She has to remove that thought process from her head. And I think like that's a fundamental it's like one of those fundamental things about Americans. They believe, hey, well, I'm gonna get married in a white picket fence, but you think we're gonna get married with the white picket fence for me, the happy wife, happy life. And that causes men to be uh it definitely wastes potential because a lot of times they're focusing more so in things within the house that the women should be taking care of when they should be using all their power in order to do things outside of the house and let their wife hug and support them. And
The women, and this only happens in times of warfare and poverty and famine.
right.
These things only happen in these times where women are grateful to have a man there. They realize that the man doesn't have to take them on, but he does. And that's when women tend to be grateful and appreciative of their men. But this only happens during times of, like I said, poverty, warfare, and famine.
Right.
So, um, the, you know, it's almost like we need to have a reset. We have to have a reset of the Western world. And
Mhm.
sorry, we have to have a reset of the modern world. And sometimes that only happens during disasters. So
Mhm.
maybe, maybe what's happening with China and Taiwan and Russia and here, maybe that can bring on some kind of change in the family structure that we have here.
um like and I'm pretty sure you've heard about the Great Reset or whatever they're trying to call us, the
Mhm.
World Economic Forum. And
Yes.
it's like, and I've even read some of the documents, but and it's crazy because the agendas that they have, they do want to keep going with this, non-nuclear family. They want acceptance of everything. And you can't have acceptance of everything without the men deciding to police their own homes. So, it's almost crazy now. And I don't care, I'm out there. But, for a man to even simply state that he wouldn't like homosexuality to be a part of his family, but not because he doesn't like it, but because he has no ability to reproduce from his kids. You know what I'm saying? Saying something like that, which is a hard logistical fact, obviously, it's like, okay, what did you just say? And it kind of
It's
neuters the
like, pardon
father's
me. Can you say
ability
that
to
again?
create a narrative around his family. And if he does, it's seen as, oh, dad, you hate what. It's like, no, it's not about that.
Right. Right. But like anything men do to stand up for their families, it's like the women feel as though they have to be either right by his side fighting with him or in front of him fighting for him. And it's like, let the men do what they do naturally. Let them take care of their family as they normally would. I don't know why we have this. I mean, I kind of know why. We have the women feeling like I can fight right next to my husband against everyone, and I can even go against my husband whenever
Right.
he doesn't, when he does something that I don't like. I can go against him. It's really bad.
So just one last question for you before I get out of there.
Yes.
So, I mean, obviously we see this is not sustainable. Where do you see the future going?
Well, like I told you, I only have women actually start being grateful in times of warfare, poverty, and famine. So
So
I'm just saying, because
yeah.
look, the way things are right now, nothing
Mhm.
will change. Daddy government is too strong and too wealthy to stop taking care of the women. The system that we have with the laws is not going to change. It is what it is. So
Right.
these are the two main things that are keeping women with this comfort blanket over them. If they go to the Middle East, see what real life is when you don't have daddy government. We can't go to government and ask for WIC.
Right.
They will ask you, well, where's your husband? That's what they will say. Oh,
Right.
can I have some free? Where's your husband? Where's your men? You say, oh, I left him because then stand on the street. That's
Right.
it. And I think that in America, because the system is too comfortable, the blanket is too thick and warm,
Right.
we need something that will reset. And unfortunately, I know people don't like me wanting bad things or thinking like a pessimist. But until then, no matter how much we try to urge, you will get maybe 5% of the women that we're speaking to change. Only maybe 5%, if we're lucky, will say, you know what, that's the right thing to do. But because nothing is going to change their life in the long
Right.
run here, it doesn't matter
Right.
because the system.
Lack of incentive to change is what you're saying. Right.
There you go.
I
That's what I
agree.
see happening.
I agree. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me again, Eagles. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. You are
All right. You
so
too.
logical. Thank
All
you.
right.
Guys, I have to take a quick break. I need to run downstairs to get some water. I will be right back, okay? Please hold while I transfer your call. Just joking. Oh, let me get this one.
sure y'all get them likes up. Get them likes up.
That beat is really nice. Hi, Kosher Clinician. Wow, you're here. How are you? You're muted.
All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I
All
can't
right.
see you. Do you not have your camera?
Hold tight. Let me get my glasses. My eyes are sort of red. I've been busy all week, so give me one moment. Let me put my glasses on,
Okay.
and we're going to chop it up. All right? So how you doing, young lady?
Doing well, thank you. How about
All right.
yourself?
I'm tired, but all is well. How are you doing?
Doing well. Nice to see
right.
you.
Nice to see you as well. So, to add light to this conversation, I would definitely say I think women want both. I think they want power and revenge. I think they want both. And unfortunately, Ameera, a lot of our women have been compromised by the illusion of power. But what many don't understand that the essence of their power was actually tied into their femininity. You're from a country where you understand male order and male patriarchy. But
Patriarchy.
yes, ma'am. But a lot of women, especially some modern women, saw patriarchy as a negative. And because of that, they more or less forfeited their power, which in essence, their power really was them collaborating, working with their man. You know and I know that women gain power through cooperation. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Right. And so what's happened now, the revenge factor is coming in now, Ameera, because many are having a term that I created called a schema affliction. Schema comes from the clinical term schema, right? The word schema in the clinical actually means a fixated mind state. It's a fixation that can actually lead to a negative state or a positive state. That's what a schema is. But the affliction, Ameera, actually comes from pain. And so now, because of, like the young man was saying, Hugo's Way was saying about the global reset, many women are having a schema affliction because they thought that having power and having the power to do what they wanted to do would get them the outcomes that they wanted. But many are actually suffering in silence and have too much pride to say, I really wish I had a man, someone I could work with and build with, a good man. I'm not talking about dusty men. A good man that's noble to give them the love and support that they need. So I think it's a combination of both. They want revenge because of the perceived power that they thought they had. And now because they realized that perceived power was just an illusion of power, now they are actually reveling in their own dissatisfaction for the most part.
Ooh. Ooh. Wow. Oh
Right.
my gosh. That should be on a placard somewhere.
Well, it's unfortunate, because I think a lot of American women have been compromised. And listen, I'm not talking about men that abuse power. I think that righteous, noble men should never abuse their women. I'm not talking about men that abuse power. But I want you to educate me because you're from a country where you've seen true masculinity. Would you say that American men are very passive or more or less too egalitarian as it comes to their women? What would you say?
I think they're passive.
Right. And tell me why. Tell me why, based on, your upbringing growing up in the Middle East. Why would you say American men tolerate too much from your best estimation?
That's a great question.
Right.
I would say, firstly, because of the family structure. I believe the family structure is corrupted in this country. That's one thing that we have. People can say whatever they want about the Middle East, but our family structures are intact. Intact.
Right.
Because that's all we have. We are all we have against the rest of the bombings and the danger or whatever may happen. We are all we have. So our family structure is intact. So when I think about America, the family structure is too open. They don't rely on their families as much as they should. And I believe that the boys are not being taught. Nobody allows them to be men. That's what I think is the problem.
No, you're right. And I agree with that. I think we more or less sabotage the functioning of our boys a lot of time at the expense of our girls. There was a powerful black woman in the media that said we must raise our boys up to the same level that we raise our girls. But, we have some good women that have been more or less, in my opinion, bamboozled and hoodwinked America because they feel like that, black men had the power to oppress them. And I say succinctly, if you look at science, as a licensed therapist, we look at things what's called the macro, the meso, and the micro, right? And so there are 3 levels that a person must look through in order to reach what's called optimization. And so when it comes down to the micro, men of color never had the power to oppress because we were both mules of the same burden. So black men never had the power to oppress our women. We didn't have the power to oppress. We were mules. We never created policies at the meso, which is the group level, to oppress women. And also, we definitely didn't have the power at the macro, which is where the policies are actually made. Now listen, were there some domestic issues that were more or less endemic in black families? Sure. There were some men that abused power in black families.
That's everywhere.
That's everywhere, right? But we tend to get so more or less Ameera caught up in this tired trope that that every black man in America was Mister. I did a show called "Leave Mister Alone," because Mister a lot of times really was a broken man that dealt with trauma from Jim Crow racism. But see, we don't look at the pathology.
I'm sorry, there was a guy named Mister.
It was a movie called The Color Purple. Back in the day.
Right.
and his name was
the husband of
right.
Okay.
Right, and so
I saw that movie.
Right, and so in the show I said, leave Mister alone, because a lot of times we tend to equivocate every negative trope with Mister, which really was a devaluation of the American black man. We devalue every black man and said he was Mister, unfortunately. And so that's a thinking error. That's a thinking error called catastrophizing. And so we live in a society, Ameera, where a lot of our people, and unfortunately some, not all, shout out to the good sisters that are listening, but we live in a society, Ameera, where a lot of our women we have thinking errors as it relates to how they see our men. We tend to encapsulate all men as a Mister. And because of that, a lot of our women, Ameera, become what I call deaf. Kevin Samuels created a terminology called sign language: shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. But as a clinical therapist, I created something called deaf. And deaf, Ameera, is due to cognitive distortions. Deaf stands for they deny the evidence, they become enraged when you present them the evidence, they argue the evidence through what's called ad hominem attacks, and they fight or flee because of fear. And so because of that cognitive dissonance, Ameera, they become afraid of the evidence because they don't want to do the introspection to make the proper changes to be better women. I would say this: most American brothers love sisters. We love them. I've been married for 25 years. My wife is a black woman. So, it's not the fact that, when I hear men talking in private or in session, they don't love black women. They just feel like a lot of times our women do not honor them and respect them as the men that they want the respect from. And I think some of that, Ameera, is due to a condition called vicarious trauma. Some of their moms saw bad, unsavory men, and then they tend to equivocate all men with, that they're going to abandon them. So, which in essence, they sabotage the relationship because of that fear, unfortunately.
So I'd rather fail, because failing is not that it's just easier, but it gives me relief to fail because I don't have to have the stress of succeeding.
And not only that, failure is a comfort for a lot of people. In clinical therapy, we call it a rigid boundary. And so it's a wall up. That wall protects the person from the inevitable. But I did a show, Ameera, back in the past where there was a woman that said she thought she was strong and independent and she thought she had power. But she had an epiphany to her own chagrin when she realized, she said, my time is over. And the topic of the show, Ameera, was called Death of the Man Tree. She thought that she had an unlimited supply of men, that she could go and just pick a man from a tree at any time. But she said, it was sad, it was very sad, but she said, my time is over. She said, I didn't listen. She had a husband, she divorced him because she believed the lie of some of these
unlimited supply.
Right, unlimited supply, but the feminist rhetoric that the man was her enemy. So she got rid of her husband thinking that she was going to get married again, but she didn't. She had unlimited sex, but she didn't get another ring. So the woman said that, listen, my time is over. It was sad. I didn't cry, but I felt it in my heart because she was compromised. And because of that compromise, Ameera, now many want revenge. Many want revenge because they realize that they have been lied to. They've been lied to based on the narrative or the feminist trope that they had power, but they really never had power because their power really was in their ability to be feminine.
They had more power before, when they were that structure.
Yes, ma'am. Right. Listen, if a woman is actually operating in her feminine grace, even if she's deceptive or what I call fake femininity. Now, a man like me, I know game when I see it. But femininity, like my man Aguapo said, is a feminine amplifier. When a woman amplifies femininity, like Aguapo said, it makes that man, want to kill the dragon for it. But a lot of our women think that in order to get the power, that they got to fight their man. No, you don't fight a man with masculine energy. You fight him with feminine energy, and that makes him calm. Right.
Oh,
no, go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
You just said that a man, when he finds a woman who's feminine, he wants to go slay the dragon for her. The same thing happens with us women. When we find a man who's masculine and slaying the dragon, we want to take care of that man. We want to make it so that when he comes back from slaying that dragon, he can heal his wounds, relax. We want to do all the work so he doesn't have to do anything.
Right.
That's so true.
Right. It's really complementary, Ameera. I call it an amalgamation, almost like when you take two metals and you blend them together. We call that amalgamating or amalgamation. And so it's like a dance. It's, as I said in the past, it's a symbiosis. It's like two integrated beings that are optimized to be synchronized. And it becomes a beautiful dance where the feminine complements the masculine and the masculine complements the feminine. And I call that soul fusion. And so when you have a man and a woman in soul fusion, Ameera, the man's testosterone levels rises, but the woman's vibration for love actually increases because she's more or less being infused with masculine energy. The greatest compliment to a woman is when a man gives her the romanticism and love. That's her greatest asset. That's the currency the woman seeks. She seeks the validation and the attention of her husband. That's why some women, Ameera, like bad boys, because bad boys, they don't care, so they're constantly seeking validation. But men lose power because when they try to give power by doing things, I love you, flowers, sometimes it can become contraindicated if that woman does not more or less earn it. In behavioral modification, it's a concept called positive and negative reinforcement. And so a woman and a man, when they both are being reinforced positively, then it's called an equilibrium. But if the woman is doing too much and the man is not doing enough, then the woman is getting...
It's off the balance.
It's off balance, right. She's getting negative reinforcement, but he's getting positive reinforcement, or vice versa. Right. But in a relationship, Ameera, it must be symmetry, where both are actually benefiting. And so many relationships now, it's not symmetry. It's actually off kilter. So, until our men realize that power actually resides in cooperation, then there's going to continue to be this disfunct because there is a global reset. And, some are scared. Some are afraid. Right. Some are afraid. It's not like having a powerful masculine man in your presence to protect you. And unfortunately, a lot of our women, not all, but many of our women have been sabotaged. They've been lied to through liberal policies. And now some will suffer the recompense of their error, unfortunately.
Yes. Do you write books? Did you write a book yet?
I don't have the time, but I need to write one because I'm busy. I'm busy, but I do need to write one at some point. Being a therapist and doing content creation is time consuming.
I can imagine. Wow,
right? It's very time consuming.
I feel like I should have had a notebook. I should have been writing something down because that just, you've got my brain going, and thank you so much. I really do appreciate that.
Oh, no doubt. What's up, TJ?
Jay.
How you doing? I would love to hear TJ's points because she always, she's one of those sisters that come around. But TJ,
But Bolo, Bolo, what's your first?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Bolo. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Bolo, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
How are you doing? How's everything?
Good.
What's up, Bolo? How you doing, brother?
Oh no, Coach. How's everything? I'll let TJ go since Coach wants to hear what she has to say. TJ, you can go.
Oh, okay. Ladies first.
Oh, that's sweet. Ladies first.
Okay.
Hi, TJ.
Can you hear me all right? Hi. How you doing, Ameera? How y'all doing this evening?
Yeah, good.
Wow. I just came in, as a matter of fact, when the other gentleman was on and was talking, you all were talking about the military something. So I'm not really sure. And I heard you say that TJ may know something about. So would you mind sharing a little bit about what was that?
Sure. So the conversation was about men and women and joining the military, like, so they changed the rules for the women when they're joining the military. They changed the rules, and the guy had mentioned something about, I can't even quote what he said, but you understand the point. The point is that women, their qualifiers to enter into the military, army, what have you, are lowered, right? So they're basically creating a weaker army by having women that aren't up to standard as men. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's what we were saying.
Well, I will submit to you that, I went into the military in 1986. So I will submit to you that the the military standards that started to change have changed ever since then, to include, I remember hearing such things as, holding up stress cards. Even in basic training, I'm like, you're not going to be able to hold up a stress card in battle. I will submit that women and men have always had different standards to enter into the military. That is nothing new. The physical fitness standards have always been different. So that's nothing new either.
That's what I thought. I thought that they were saying, but I've heard that they've become more extreme. That is getting to the point where women essentially don't have to really do anything or be actually qualified. And that, before there were, I've heard situations where I've had friends try to enter into the military and they were denied because they had an allergy. Like, there were so many things that were so strict in order to enter, while now we have people who are on hormone medications, okay, who don't know if they want to be women or men on the battlefield. So this is what we're speaking about, is the standards of our military have dropped so low because I would say
there are a number of reasons for that. There are a number of reasons for that. And I will tell you, I am not ashamed to say that I was not in agreement with rescinding Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I was not in favor of that at all. Because one of the things that I loved about the military was about discipline and order. And there were certain things that you were not allowed to do, to include public displays of affection, even if you were married. And so there's I wasn't even really allowed to hug my daughter, or there were certain things that you just couldn't do. And it seemed that when that was lifted, all those standards went out the window. So it's been a gradual decline. So I will submit another thing, that the standards are being lowered because when we consider the fact people are not going into the military, and that's just the bottom line. People are not going into the military, and I don't know if there are any recruiters, but recruiters have a tremendous job every month to try to get people in the military. And when there are people not coming in there, you're going to accept people that you probably wouldn't have, or the draft will return. And when the draft comes next time, it's going to include women.
TJ, just really quickly, what you said is such a bombshell, because I didn't know that there was a struggle to get to get recruitment. But Larry in the comment has just mentioned that he said, yes, TJ, I got yelled at for walking in uniform with a toothpick in my mouth, that the rules were so strict back then.
Yes. And so again, that was another reason I knew it was time for me to make myself go away. Says TJ masculine herself. Okay, well, whatever. But
don't please,
because here's the thing, I'm about the business, and I don't regret any of my military service, because it enabled me to have the life and give my daughter the life that I'm not sure I would have been able to. But what the culture clinician is saying is absolutely right with respect to how I was raised. And I'll say my mom did not know the messages she was sending, because a lot of times I don't think it was intentional. I think you give what you have. You can't give what you don't know and what you don't have. So again, I'm watching my mom in different relationships, and all I'm seeing is, well, this is how I need to be. And Bolo and I talked about the fact that, when I was growing up or in college or whatever, even in my early 20s, I would ask a man, well, what are you looking for in a woman? What do you want? And they would say, well, I want a woman that's this, and I want a woman that's that's independent, that's strong. Well, here's the thing. I never considered the fact that what I thought was strong based on my upbringing was different than what he may have thought was strong based on his. So if he had a mother and a father in the home like my husband did, the strength that he saw from a woman was his mother taking care of the family, taking care of his father, making sure even though she had a job, when she came home from work, she cooked every day, those kinds of things. Well, me, on the other hand, what I see as strong is somebody else because I did not have a father there. So my idea of strength was something different. We were saying the same thing, but meaning two different things. So I thought, to your point, that if I get my education and then if I, can sustain, that I would show this man that I'm an asset to him, not understanding that he would never care about it anyway.
Right.
But you just didn't know that. And to your point, the kosher, I identify with what you're talking about, but about the lady, because again, growing up in my 20s, there was nothing hotter than me until it was.
Right. I appreciate your honesty.
Until it wasn't. You couldn't hit me in the ass with a red apple. I was so tight.
Right.
But up until I'm like, well, wait a minute, but it's true. So I'm grateful that I got that revelation. And even, sharing with my mom and the things that she didn't know, because she didn't, and her ignorance as well.
Well,
so
TJ, I always look to you.
Sure.
I always look to you because I see you as someone very wise, and I listen to wisdom. I try to learn from anyone who, especially people who are older than me, who can teach me. And I've been listening now. I didn't say anything before, Mr. Clinician, but I've listened to you and Bolo and TJ, and it's amazing to have the three of you on this panel right now.
Right.
The three people that I've been listening to since I've joined the Lapeef Network, and it's just amazing to have the three of you here. These are three wise people that I have here, and I'm just so.
Turn up the Bolo. I'm done. Turn up the Bolo. Speak,
hey,
speak,
Bolo.
man. Speak.
Okay. Well, I'm honored to be up there with Culture and TJ.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much for having me up here. I think that there's something that we need to identify, that women want the authority of men. They want the privilege of a woman and the accountability of a child. You have to pick. You can't have all three. When we don't know what our positions are, there's a dysfunction.
Right.
And shutting down the man and giving women something was given to a woman that shouldn't have ever been given to her. And independence, nonsense. First of all, I don't know anyone that's independent on the earth. Everyone depends on somebody.
Right.
So I don't know anyone that's independent. So, when we take this independence as a form of strength, when it's really a form of weakness, right? For me to work with somebody else is a form of strength, because there's going to be things that I'm weak at that they're going to be strong at. So women don't, like TJ said, we define strength differently, right? Men define strength as, picking something up, running through a wall, protecting, nourishing, guiding, and providing. Women's strength is being there for the man, being his backbone. And it even goes further than that, because sometimes the man may fall short. You may have to cover him and put strength into him so that he is able to get up and run through that building. Women don't understand how much power they have in their femininity.
Right.
When you come out of your femininity and start to match me with masculinity, there's something that triggers in a man that says, hold on, this is not normal. This is a man coming at me. This is subconscious. This is not something that he's going to pick up or something. This is subconscious. You're coming at me the way another man would come at me. So now I have to deal with you in that fire. I have to deal with you like that. But if you come at me in your femininity, you can be as upset as you want, as long as you're feminine. And I said this in TJ's show. There was a king that asked his subjects, name me the most powerful force in the kingdom. One guy said the sword. Another guy said the king. And one guy said the queen. And he said, explain. He said, one day I was walking through the palace. I seen the queen take the crown off the king, put it on her head, and slap him. He said, whatever you want, it'll be given to you. When you're in your femininity, there is nothing that we wouldn't do for you.
That's true. Very true.
Bolo, when you mentioned that, Bolo, you think about how, especially like in domestic violence cases or assault, when a woman assaults a man and the man responds with assaulting her back, a man typically would never do that to a woman because he sees her as the weaker of the sexes, right? But you're right that when she steps into that arena, he subconsciously will treat her as an equal because she's acting the part. If the woman was to act in her femininity and how she should, he would never think to do that. He would never think to go assault her.
Well, see, when you're talking about people like Kosher, myself, and TJ, we grew up around, taking out your jacket and putting it down and, letting the woman walk over it. And, a woman can hit you and you're like, you know what, I'm going to keep it pushing and I'm going to keep it moving. But you're talking the last 20 years, 25 years where women are starting to say, I'm equal. I can do what you can do. And that's where it comes in where women want the authority of a man. So now you're bringing up these youngins that don't see you. Chivalry is dead in their eyes.
Right.
They don't see you as the weaker vessel.
Right.
They see you as equal because this is what you've been saying. This is what you have been pushing. This is what I've been taught. So when you slap me, I'm knocking you out. It's something that's been honed in. So now you women have destroyed, chivalry, and you get mad at us for not giving it to you.
Right.
Because of you. Because of what you've been taught. Because, and again, I'm going to say it again, and I might get yelled at, the freedoms that you've been given here in America. Because you've been given this freedom to move the way you want to move, there isn't no parameter, right? Because I know as a father, as a man, as a husband, there's a certain parameter that I need to move in. There is a certain decorum, certain respect, integrity, and character that I move in. And it should be the same for women.
Sorry.
No, you good. Go ahead.
The kosher clinician, he was responding to the question about, if the women call revenge, and he was speaking on how many women have been indoctrinated to see every man as, he calls it the Mister, and
enemy.
And this is where that revenge factor comes in, where they're like, well, you can do that to the women of the past, but to me, you won't dare.
Right.
You're 100% correct. You're 100% on. And then you have the manosphere now. And again, I keep saying not all men in the manosphere, but most, they're pushing back.
Right.
And it's like the craziest thing you have to think about, right, that we don't really think about. The coldest ice is blue ice, and the hottest fire is blue fire.
Mm-hmm.
You stick your hand in both and you get the same results.
Mm-hmm.
The same results on the opposite spectrum, right? So you have feminism blaming men, and you have most of the men, not all, most of the men blaming women, saying this is why. And what we need to do, feminism and the manosphere, we need to look at ourselves and say, what was our part in this dysfunction? We can't continue blaming each other because no one learns, no one grows from it. I'm saying it's Kosher's fault. Kosher's saying it's Bolo's fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And Ameera's saying it's TJ Randall's fault. So here's the thing. Even in the garden, Adam blamed Eve. Eve blamed the snake. Snake had no one to blame. No one took accountability and responsibility for what they did. And that was the disrespect and the love loss that they had. Because God, when you look at it, no one took responsibility. So you thought that God couldn't forgive you? You couldn't just say, I messed up. It's my bad.
Well, I have a question for the three of you. Now, I don't know if it was Kosher who asked me this. No, this was Ego who asked me this. Ego asked me this, and I will ask it to you. Ego asked me, what do you think will change this around? My prediction was that there is no changing it because us talking, we will be lucky if we reach 5% of the women and men. We'll be lucky.
Totally agree.
But
I agree with
I believe that the only way that we can change this is for there to be a disaster that happens to the Western world. There has to be a disaster because I said change only happens when women start being grateful. It's only when we have poverty, famine, or warfare.
Right. Well, I've said this many times, Ameera, and I'm going to piggyback on what Bolo was saying, but I've said this many times, and I'm going to look at through the edicts of theology, but also what Frederick Douglass said. I often quote this on my show. But I said the power never conceded without a struggle. Without a struggle, it never have and it never will. So there's the evolution that's going on because when you look at it from the edicts of the gospel, the teacher, the prophet, and some call it the Son of God, Jesus said that you can't take new wine and put it into old wineskin. You got to change the wineskin in order to put new wine in it. So it's going to take a de-evolution. It's going to take a de-evolution in order to take the new wine and put it in the new wineskin, Ameera, TJ, and Bolo. And it might take a couple of generations. It's not going to happen overnight. And see, think about this. You know, I love TJ because she's genuine. You know, I'm going to do a show, TJ. I want you to pop on me, you Guapo, and some of the Gen X, you know, Vivid Life. I'm going to call it the Gen X Nexus because I'm Gen X. and so think about it, TJ, if we have women that say, I'm going to be soft and self-sufficient until I get a man, because self-sufficient and independent are really the same. But if a woman says, I'm going to be soft and self-sufficient until I get a man, versus I'm strong and independent and I don't need a man. Men and women were made to be complements of one another. Like Bolo said, women were made to be interdependent. So if a woman said, because see, that thinking error that a woman has, when she said, I'm strong and independent, don't need a man, it's a condition called magnification. It's a thinking error. But if she said, I'm going to be soft and self-sufficient until I get my man, so that I can be interdependent with him, then guess what? That's not a thinking error. That's something positive, because she's not minimizing the power of a man at the magnification of her own expense. We have a lot of people walking around, Ameera, Bolo, and TJ, that have thinking errors, which is a byproduct of what's called vicarious trauma. And so because her mom had a connection with the men that she was dealing with, she tended to associate those bad, unsavory men with pain. And so now she said, because I got to step outside of my femininity and be masculine, I'm going to be strong and independent. But see, when a woman's projecting power, then she's not projecting femininity. Remember, the feminine rests while the masculine does. The masculine is doing, the feminine is being. That's why a lot of time in this space is, you know, it's a terminology called human beings versus human doings. If men are not careful and they don't stand on principle, they can become mules and subjects of women instead of being what's called commodities. But if most women were saying, I'm going to be soft and self-sufficient until I get my husband, versus I'm going to be strong and independent and I don't need a man, which is it's a byproduct of trauma, then you won't have the connection that you're having now. But watch this, TJ, Bolo, and Ameera. If you look at the election, a lot of men felt like, you know what, our women don't give a damn about us, because they voted for policies. I'm not talking about candidates, I'm talking about only policies. They voted for policies that are antithetical to the unison of the black man and the black woman. Those policies did not benefit the black man and the black woman. It benefited what I call self-aggrandizement. It only benefited some of the sisters that wanted power. But if they had voted for not the candidate, but voted for policies that more or less helped build the community, the black man and the black woman, then guess what? We could have had a stronger community. So when brothers saw that, they said, oh, hell no, it's over. Because they didn't vote for us, they voted for themselves. And that's what a lot of men have been seeing, and the brothers I talk to in the circles. You can't expect men now to come back to the aid and come back to your rescue when you've been hitting them over the head for the longest. And don't get it twisted. I think men should take accountability too, because see what happened with men, we're part to blame because we allow a lot of our women to have that power. But when you have men that have never seen masculine authority, see, TJ, Bolo, we're part of that generation where we at least saw some men in authority and power. But this generation now have never seen it. They don't know what masculine men look like. I taught school. You know, I was like a superstar when I would walk in and see the kids in school. I'm 6'5", 6'6", with shoes on. So when kids saw me, a black masculine presence, I was an anomaly. But when we were in school, it was not anonymous to see a black male teacher or a black principal or a black coach. It was just normal. Do you see my point? So we're on a subconscious level teaching children that power resides in the feminine instead of power residing in the masculine.
Well, another thing that I've seen is that they have this over-aggressive view of masculinity, and that's what's being taught as toxic masculinity. Mm-hmm. So the boys don't know what to be anymore. They're confused because they think like if they react in a masculine way, in their eyes masculine, which is actually more feminine, to be emotional, and anger is an emotion, whether we like it or not. Kay brought that up, and I appreciated her bringing that up, that anger is an emotion too. So for those men that say, I'm not emotional, but they get angry all the time and are always trying to fight, it's the same thing. And that's a feminine feature. That's a feminine trait. And we see so many TJ, we see so many boys that are exuding this because they think, well, masculinity, because they've never seen masculine, as you say, they've never seen men perform like men. They think that masculinity is aggression and constant aggression and pushing everybody around when that's not it.
It's not.
Green Hulk. That's what it is. They're taught that masculinity is that Hulk smash. They're not taught that masculinity is not just Hulk smash. They're not taught that masculinity is the gray Hulk. You have integrity, you have intelligence and logic and truth coupled with strength. But there are going to be times when you need to choke somebody for 7 seconds. I keep saying that that's a law.
Why 7 seconds? I don't understand.
I just like the number 7. You know, but a lot of the times we're taught that strength only comes through running through walls. We're not taught that strength comes through reason, logic, understanding, gaining clarity, perspective. They're not taught that. They don't see it because a lot of these children are raised, these little boys are raised without fathers in their life. So how can they see something or be something that they've never seen, touched, smelled, or looked at? And the same thing with the mom. How do they need to know to be feminine if they've seen their mom hard as hell? You're asking her to be something that she's never seen in her life. And to go back to the great reset that people are talking about, there's 3 things when the systems break down that men fight for. That's food, shelter, and women. Women, that's when we really see where we're created at, right? That's when we really see where things are. Because you're not going to go out there and build, kill, and ravage. We're going to do that. And I'm going to stand on this, and then I'm going to yield the mic. In God's eyes, men and women are created equal in creation.
Right.
He loves us both.
Right.
But we're not equal in purpose.
Right.
He loves the eagle. He loves the mouse. He created them both. He loves them. But he created the eagle to eat the mouse. Mm-hmm. This is what y'all guys got to understand. You're not created to do what we do, and we're not created to do what you do. Right. So when you stay in your purpose and you do what you do, and we stay in our purpose and we do what we do, like Kosha said, when we come in there and we handshake and we come together like a hand in glove, it's a beautiful sight to see.
It's beautiful, man. It's
a
powerful.
Beautiful thing to see. You can't stop. It's unstoppable. Unstoppable. But when you have men trying to do what women do, and women trying to do what men do, now our positions, it gets grave. Now everybody's running around and not understanding what we need to do. And that's what I mean by the freedoms in America. That's what I mean. We were better off in slavery than we are now.
Come on, TJ.
About that, because we were focused.
A couple of things. The Dark Knight said to recommend the movie, Lean on Me, for you to watch that movie. Excellent movie. And Kosher, yes. Oh. So you can see the principle that he's talking about, because when you were talking about that, Kosher, I remember the principals, the teachers, mm-hmm. the band directors, the coaches, mm-hmm. all these men
right.
that were like our surrogate fathers mm-hmm. in school. Mm-hmm. These kids don't have that.
They don't have
it. Right?
Me? Yes.
Hey, Kosher, where's my invite, man?
Man, anytime, brother. You let me know. Listen, you let me know when you're ready to chop it up, man. We can drop some hot fire, man. And listen, we need to do a show with you, me, and TJ called the Gen X Nexus, and have a guap on the show, man. Because we're all Gen X. TJ, what year did you graduate? 87 high school?
I graduated 85.
Oh, you were Harold Melvin, the Blue Notes.
You were dropping all the music. And see, remember, Coach, the last time I said my daughter, and again to the point, my daughter didn't learn how to be a wife for me.
Right. Also, after this point with TJ, we got to shut down a little bit because JR is pulling his beard again. So
don't pull no gray hairs out, JR.
Right.
Keep it full and lush.
Oh goodness.
Well, listen.
Independent to serve women. And one last thing, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop off. Women that are listening to me, I am encouraged because we do have a generation of men who want to be men. They just need to be shown how to be men. Mm-hmm. We have a generation of women like myself who are saying, I messed up, learn from the things that I did wrong. But you also have a generation of women like my daughter who is in your generation, Ameera, that is doing the right thing and is showing and trying to help young women. So the last thing, women, I want you to think about something. How many times did you, my husband, he's home for the weekends, he fills my car up, he checks my tires, he washes my car every time he's home.
I can't get my husband to put gas in the tank.
I said, I asked myself, how many times over the course of my life did someone maybe want to do that for me? And I can say, oh, no, I got it. I got it. No, I got it. You know, because I'm strong, I'm independent. No, I got it. So guess what happens when you continue to do that, ladies? They'll let you have it.
Can I just say one thing before I come on? Let me clarify what I meant by.
Hi, TJ. Thank you so much for coming. I see you soon.
I'm gonna drop off too. Thank you, Ameera. I don't want to.
One thing, Ameera, and I'll drop off. The thing that I meant and clarified about us being better off in slavery is the family structure. Okay, I'm not talking about the actual slavery. The family structure was more in tune to where everyone knew what they needed to do. And with that, I'm going to say good night and thank you so much for having me on. Coach, I'm out.
Oh yeah, just check me in, man. CoachClinician@gmail, brother. We'll make something pop off. I'm gonna pop off too, Ameera. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for you and Lapeef Jr. for allowing me to come on the show. It's always an honor. You exude and radiate true femininity. So I'm so honored every time I hear your soft voice. But
thank you so much. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. And I before you go, I want to say thank you for your wisdom. I really do see you, TJ, and Bolo as such wise people. And I'm soaking up everything that you guys are saying. I'm learning. Like I said, I'm here to learn a lot as well. I need to learn because, you know, I'm still young. I'm still figuring out a lot of things. And you guys make it so much easier because you guys know how to word things in a way I can follow easily and I can remember. So I appreciate you so much. And please use your acronym DEAF. Please use it more often. Make it catchy, just like how Kevin Samuels does with the sign. Right.
Yeah, I've been doing it. I'll be doing it more so, you know. But anyway, it's a pleasure. And shout out to Lapeef for allowing me to pop in. I appreciate it, guys. You guys be safe, all right? Be well.
Thank you so much. Well, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. This has turned into something a lot more than I thought it was going to be. And I appreciate all of you for being here. Thank you, our former president, Mr. Trump. Thank you, the Clue Channel. Thank you, Middle Child. I think that's Joel. Thank you, Vincent Harris. Let's Talk Beach, Jonathan. Jonathan is always a great member of the network, and I appreciate you. Thank you, Grogu. Thank you, Sir Chi. Sir Chi, also a great member. And thank you, Ahmed Omar and X Blaze. I know I'm not going to say every name, I'm sorry, because we're going to be here for a long time. But I do want to say thank you to all of you and Teddy and Sila. And I appreciate you. You guys actually make me think about my marriage so much. And you make me appreciate my husband that much more since I've been speaking to you all. And now I'm actually understanding more and more why he does what he does after speaking with the men here and the women. Thank you all. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.
Y'all get them likes up. Last track, get them likes up. Guys haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Also hit that like button while you at it. Guys, make sure y'all show Ameera some love. Get them likes up, y'all. Get them likes up. Show us some love. If you haven't already, make sure you get them likes up. This is the last track. We definitely appreciate all the constant support. Appreciate all the super chats. Make sure y'all show Ameera some love, y'all. Go ahead and like this video. Yeah. Welcome to the Lapeef Network. The greatest network ever. Know what it is. Get them likes up, y'all.